Have you ever wondered why some people seem to have an unshakable inner strength while others crumble under pressure? Welcome to the fascinating world of Stoicism, an ancient philosophy that continues to echo through the ages. Stoicism is all about understanding the intricate balance of life, accepting what is within our control, and letting go of what's not. It's about developing resilience, tranquility, and a deep sense of satisfaction. It's about fortitude in the face of adversity and serenity amidst chaos. In today's fast-paced, hyper-connected world, the teachings of Stoicism are more relevant than ever. We're constantly bombarded with information, expectations, and challenges. It's easy to feel overwhelmed, lost, or defeated, but Stoicism offers a roadmap, a guide to navigating life's ups and downs with grace and composure. Stoicism teaches us to manage our personal strengths and weaknesses effectively. It helps us recognize the habits that weaken us and shows us how to transform them into strengths. It's not about suppressing emotions or becoming indifferent. It's about understanding our emotions, our reactions, and our thought processes, and then using this understanding to cultivate inner peace and resilience. Today, we're going to explore 8 habits that might be making you weak, and how you can transform them using the principles of Stoicism. These are habits that can sneak into our lives without us even realizing it. Habits that can hold us back, hinder our growth, and prevent us from reaching our full potential. But with Stoicism, we can learn to recognize these habits, understand their impact, and take steps to transform them. We're going to dive deep into each habit, dissect it, and learn how to flip it around using Stoicism. We'll explore practical, actionable steps that you can start implementing right away. It's a journey of self-improvement, of personal growth, and of finding strength within ourselves. Ready to uncover these habits that might be holding you back? Buckle up and embark on this journey of self-improvement. The first habit that weakens us is negativity and complaint. Let's pause for a moment and consider this. It's a common human tendency to focus on the negative, to nitpick, to complain. We find fault with the weather, the traffic, our jobs. We grumble about the little inconveniences of life, often without realizing the impact it has on our mental strength. Negativity, you see, is like a poison. It seeps into our thoughts, our feelings, our actions. It clouds our perception, causing us to see the world through a lens of discontent. And when we complain, we reinforce this negative mindset, creating a vicious cycle of pessimism. But here's the thing. Negativity and complaint are not only detrimental to our mental strength, they're also entirely within our control. This is where Stoicism comes in. Stoicism, an ancient philosophy that has stood the test of time, encourages acceptance and positivity. Stoics understood that life is full of challenges and hardships, but instead of complaining about them, they accepted them as part of the natural order of things. They focused on what they could control, their attitudes, their responses, their actions, and let go of what they couldn't. This doesn't mean ignoring the negative or pretending it doesn't exist. Rather, it means acknowledging it, understanding it, and then choosing to focus on the positive. It means replacing complaint with gratitude, discontent with acceptance. Imagine how much stronger, how much happier, how much more resilient we could be if we adopted this Stoic mindset. If we stopped complaining about the rain and instead appreciated its life-giving power. If we stopped resenting traffic and instead used it as an opportunity to practice patience. If we stopped focusing on what's wrong with our jobs and instead recognize the opportunities they provide. This shift in perspective, this habit of positivity and acceptance, is a powerful tool for building mental strength. It's a habit that we can cultivate, a choice that we can make. Remember, the world is as you see it. Choose to see the positive. The second habit that can make you weak is seeking external validation. Now let's take a moment to unpack this. When you rely too heavily on others for your sense of self-worth, you're essentially handing over the reins of your happiness and self-esteem to them. It's like saying, here, you decide how I should feel about myself. It's a precarious position to be in, don't you think? In this vast, unpredictable world, people's opinions vary and change like the wind. If your self-worth is tied to these constantly fluctuating opinions, it's bound to leave you feeling unsettled, anxious, and ultimately weak. Now, let's turn to Stoicism. This ancient philosophy encourages us to look inward for validation. It teaches us that our worth is not determined by the fickle opinions of others, but by our own actions and character. Stoicism promotes a strong sense of self-acceptance, urging us to acknowledge our strengths and weaknesses and to work on improving ourselves for our own sake, not to impress or please others. To live a Stoic life is to understand that you are in control of your own worth. You don't need applause to know you've done well or criticism to realize you've made a mistake. You are your own best judge. This doesn't mean ignoring feedback or advice from others, but rather, it's about not letting it define you. It's about being able to take it on board, learn from it, and continue to shape your own self-image. So the next time you find yourself seeking approval or fearing disapproval, remember this. You are not a puppet in the hands of others. You hold the strings. You have the power to validate yourself, to accept yourself, to grow and improve for your own sake. This is the strength of Stoicism. This is the strength within you. Your worth is not determined by others, but by your actions and character. The third habit that weakens us is procrastination. This is a habit that most of us are guilty of, and it's one that can really take a toll on our productivity and mental strength. Procrastination is essentially the act of postponing or delaying tasks that need to be done. It's a habit that can have a domino effect, causing other tasks to be pushed back or forgotten, leading to a pileup of work and stress. This not only impacts productivity, but also our mental strength. Carrying around the weight of unfinished tasks can cause anxiety, stress, and even feelings of guilt. But how does Stoicism view procrastination? Stoicism, a philosophy that encourages discipline, wisdom, and courage, sees procrastination as a waste of our most valuable resource: time. Stoics believe in the power of the present moment. They understand that time is not something we can control or get back. So how can we combat procrastination using Stoic principles? One way is by understanding the concept of amor fati, or love of fate. This means accepting and embracing whatever happens, including the tasks that we need to complete. Instead of delaying, we should accept these tasks as part of our fate and tackle them head-on. Another Stoic principle that can help is the discipline of action. Stoics believe in taking action in the present moment, without delay. They understand that there's no perfect time to start something. The perfect time is now. Ultimately, Stoicism encourages us to be mindful of our actions and to take control of our lives. It reminds us that we have the power to choose how we spend our time, and that we should choose wisely. Procrastination is a habit that we can overcome with discipline, acceptance, and action. Remember, procrastination is not just about delaying tasks. It's about delaying life. As the Stoic philosopher Seneca once said, it's not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. Time waits for no one. Act now. The fourth habit that can make you weak is a lack of self-control. Imagine you're sailing a ship. The sails are your skills, the wind is your motivation, but the rudder, that's your self-control. Without it, you're at the mercy of the wind, directionless and prone to crash. This is a powerful analogy for life. Without self-control, we're vulnerable to whims, cravings, and distractions that can lead us off course. Lack of self-control can manifest in many ways: overeating, overspending, procrastinating, or even indulging in harmful habits. It's like a domino effect. One poor decision can lead to another, creating a chain reaction of negative outcomes. This is where the ancient philosophy of Stoicism can be a beacon of light in the storm. Stoicism teaches us to exercise self-discipline and restraint, to resist the temptations that can lead to our downfall. It reminds us that we have the power to choose our reactions, to decide whether to indulge in a fleeting pleasure or to remain steadfast in our pursuit of a meaningful life. But how exactly do we cultivate this self-control? First, it's about understanding our triggers, those situations or feelings that make us lose control. Once we identify them, we can create strategies to manage them effectively. Second, it's about developing a strong willpower. This might sound daunting, but remember, willpower is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. Third, it's about practicing mindfulness. By being fully present in the moment, we can recognize our impulses and choose how to respond to them, rather than being swept away by them. Lastly, it's about accepting that we're human, and we're bound to falter at times. But each stumble is an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to become better at steering our ship. Remember, self-control is a skill. It can be learned, practiced, and honed, and the reward is immense: a life of purpose, resilience, and fulfillment. You are the master of your actions. Exercise control. The fifth habit that can weaken us is resistance to change. This is a habit that has the potential to stifle personal growth and limit our ability to adapt to new circumstances. Change, as you might have heard, is the only constant in life. It's ubiquitous, inevitable, and integral to the evolution of our lives. Yet, many of us find ourselves resisting it. We cling to the familiar, the comfortable, the known. We fear the uncertainty that comes with change. But in doing so, we hinder our growth, we limit our experiences, and we confine ourselves to a static existence. This resistance to change is counterproductive. It's like trying to swim against the tide. You can do it for a while, but eventually you'll tire out. The tide, representing change, is relentless. It doesn't stop. It's much smarter and easier to learn how to ride the waves and use the tide to your advantage. This is where Stoicism can play a vital role. Stoicism, as a philosophy, encourages adaptability and acceptance of change. It teaches us that change is not something to be feared, but something to be understood and embraced. It encourages us to see change not as a threat, but as an opportunity for growth and learning. Stoicism teaches us to detach from our preconceived notions and open our minds to new possibilities. It encourages us to see the world not as we wish it to be, but as it truly is. It helps us to understand that change is not an enemy, but a friend. So instead of resisting change, let's learn to accept it. Let's learn to adapt, to grow, and to thrive in the face of change. Let's learn to see change not as a barrier, but as a bridge to new opportunities and experiences. Change is the only constant. Embrace it. Embrace the inevitable flux of life and use it as a tool for personal growth and development. In this way, we can transform resistance to change from a weakness into a strength. The sixth habit that can make you weak is living in the past or future. It's like being in a perpetual time machine, always revisiting what was, or anticipating what could be. This habit is not just a time thief, but it can also rob you of the joy and potential of the present moment. When you live in the past, you're often consumed by regret or nostalgia. You revisit old mistakes, replay conversations, and rethink decisions. It's a cycle that can leave you stuck in a time that no longer exists. Similarly, living in the future can cause anxiety and stress. You're constantly worrying about what's next, planning for uncertainties, and creating scenarios that may never happen. It's like trying to predict the weather a year from now. But here's the thing, the past is a place of reference, not residence, and the future is a place of planning, not dwelling. Stoicism, a school of philosophy dating back to ancient Greece, teaches us to focus on the present moment. It promotes mindfulness and present moment awareness, urging us to accept the past and let go of the future. Stoicism suggests that the key to strength and happiness lies in understanding and embracing the here and now. It's about acknowledging that the past cannot be changed and the future cannot be controlled. What you can control, however, is how you react to the present moment. Imagine life as a river. The water that has flowed past is gone, the water that will come is not yet here, and only the present water is in your hands. Stoicism encourages you to dip your hands into the river of life, to feel the cool, refreshing present, and to let the past and future waters flow by without distress. Living in the present is not about ignoring the past or the future. It's about learning from the past, preparing for the future, but most importantly, it's about living in the present, because after all, the present moment is all you have. Live in it. The seventh habit that can weaken us is dependence on material possessions. In our modern world, materialism can often seem like the norm. We are constantly bombarded with messages that encourage us to buy more, to own more, to constantly seek the newest, the fastest, the shiniest. But this never-ending pursuit of material wealth can become a crutch, a substitution for genuine contentment and happiness. Material possessions are not inherently harmful. They can provide comfort, facilitate experiences, and even contribute to our self-expression. The problem arises when we start to rely on these possessions for our happiness, when we start to believe that the next purchase will finally bring us the contentment we've been seeking. This is a dangerous illusion. Think of it this way. If your happiness is tied to something external, something that can be taken away from you, then your happiness is always at risk. It's unstable, fragile. Is that really the kind of happiness you want to cultivate? Stoicism, on the other hand, promotes a different approach. It encourages simplicity, contentment with what one has. It teaches us to derive joy from our inner selves, from our actions, our values, our personal growth. Stoicism reminds us that we don't need to have the most to be the happiest. In fact, the opposite is often true. Stoicism is not about rejecting material possessions altogether. It's about understanding their proper place in our lives. It's about recognizing that while these things can enhance our lives, they do not define them. They are tools, not goals. So how can we start to break away from dependence on material possessions? Start by taking inventory of what truly brings you joy. Is it the new car, or the freedom and experiences it facilitates? Is it the expensive watch or the sense of accomplishment it represents? Once you start to distinguish between possessions and the true sources of joy, you can begin to cultivate a healthier relationship with material wealth. Remember, the goal is not to abandon all possessions, but to foster an inner sense of contentment that doesn't depend on them. Happiness is found within, not in material possessions. The eighth and final habit that can make you weak is avoiding challenges and difficulties. There's a certain comfort in staying within our comfort zones. It's predictable, it's familiar, and it's safe. But here's the thing about comfort zones. They can become our own little prisons, keeping us locked away from the vast potential that lies beyond their walls. When we avoid challenges, we rob ourselves of the chance to grow, to learn, to become stronger. Every challenge we face is a lesson waiting to be learned, an opportunity for growth. And when we avoid these lessons, we also avoid the growth they offer. This avoidance can lead to stagnation, a lack of progress, and ultimately, a lack of fulfillment in life. Now, let's look at it through the lens of Stoicism. The Stoics understood that life is full of challenges and difficulties. They recognized that these challenges aren't just a part of life, but they are life. They are the trials and tribulations that shape us, that make us who we are. And so, the Stoics didn't avoid challenges, they embraced them. The Stoics promoted resilience, the ability to bounce back from adversity, to keep going even when things get tough. They promoted courage, the strength to face challenges head-on, to stand tall in the face of adversity. They understood that it's not the challenges themselves that define us, but how we respond to them. Imagine if you could face every challenge with courage, with resilience. Imagine if you could see every difficulty as an opportunity for growth, a chance to become stronger, wiser. This is the power of Stoicism, the power to transform challenges into opportunities, difficulties into growth. So next time you find yourself facing a challenge, don't turn away, don't avoid it, embrace it, learn from it, grow from it. Because remember, it's not the challenge that defines you but how you respond to it. Challenges are opportunities for growth, face them with courage. Now that you know the 8 habits that can make you weak, it's time to take action. Let's take a quick look back at the habits we've explored. First, we talked about negativity and complaint, a habit that can drain your energy and keep you from recognizing the good around you. Then we discussed the habit of seeking external validation, a reliance on others' opinions that can hinder your personal growth. We moved on to procrastination, the thief of time, which can prevent you from achieving your goals. And we touched on the lack of self-control, a habit that can lead you astray and keep you from living in accordance with your values. We also examined the resistance to change, a habit that can keep you stuck in the past and prevent you from moving forward. And we delved into the habit of living in the past or future, which can stop you from fully experiencing and appreciating the present. Next, we explored dependence on material possessions, a habit that can make you lose sight of what truly matters in life. And finally, we looked at the habit of avoiding challenges and difficulties, which can hinder your personal growth and resilience. Stoicism teaches us that the power to transform these habits lies within us. By focusing on what we can control, accepting what we can't, and living in accordance with nature and our values, we can become stronger, more resilient, and more fulfilled. It's about understanding that our reactions, not our circumstances, define our reality. So don't wait for tomorrow. Start today. Identify the habits that are holding you back, and begin the work of transforming them. It won't be easy, and it won't happen overnight, but the rewards will be worth it. Remember, the journey of self-improvement is a marathon, not a sprint. Start today, and transform your life with Stoicism.